Since I live in a country that hates black women, I'll be damned if I don't get this story off my chest. There is absolutely no point in protecting a system that does absolutely nothing to protect people who look like me or bring justice to people who look like me. And if the last 500 years hasn't shown you that, take a look at last year alone. I will not wait till I'm dead before I seek justice for the crimes committed against me. While I doubt making this video will have any beneficial impact on my case, I'm making it because I spent the last 2 years suffering and I'm done holding on to this pain. There's absolutely no reason why I need to feel shame for what happened to me and how it was handled, because the shame should fall on my rapist and the people who decided not to prosecute my case. I feel compelled to share how I was treated by the justice system to simply highlight the fact that this is why people do not come forward when shit like this happens to them and why necessary reform is needed. On March 3rd, 2019, I was raped. I went over for what started as a consensual encounter with someone who I made very clear numerous times that I did not want to have sex with them. However, despite repeating that over and over again, he did not respect my boundaries, and I woke up to the most emotional, physical, and psychological pain that I've ever felt in my entire life. I did everything I was supposed to do when something like this happens. I spent 6 hours in the hospital getting a rape kit, was subjected to the most painful antibiotic shot that I've ever experienced in my entire life. I was explaining my story over and over again to multiple different people, reliving the trauma each and every time, and I reported what happened to the police, praying to God that they would take care of it. Mimi Mares from the New York District Attorney's Office was the prosecutor that was assigned to my case. After meeting with me on April 3rd, 2019, she assured me that she was going to speak to 2 people who I spoke to after the incident happened. However, she never spoke with them. The NYPD told me that I should try to get a controlled phone call from my rapist, and if you don't know what a controlled phone call is, it's essentially a phone call where you call the person who committed a crime against you and you try to get them to admit to what they did to you. I did the call and my rapist admitted to penetrating me without my consent. I then notified Mimi Mares of the controlled phone call, and despite numerous phone calls to her office, she never returned my calls. I continued to call her office numerous times throughout 2019 and I never received a response. Mind you, this was after meeting with her in person, being told that actions would be made on my behalf, and then nothing. I was ghosted by the one person who was supposed to help get justice for what happened to me. I started working with someone from CBTC, praying that they would help me get in contact with someone from the DA. If you don't know what CBTC is, it's essentially an organization that provides aid to people who are victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, and abuse. After calling Maris' office numerous times throughout 2019 and 2020, someone from CBTC decided to call Maris' office on my behalf, and she answered. Maris essentially told them that she decided to not make an arrest and closed my case without notifying me, but that she would notify me. I'm absolutely infuriated at this point because this woman has been ignoring my calls for over a year and completely disregarded the fact that my rapist admitted to penetrating me without my consent. I then called Maris a few more times and she doesn't answer nor return any of my calls despite the numerous voicemails that I've left her, and despite the fact that she literally told someone from CBTC that she was going to call me. That was a bold-faced lie. To say that for the last 2 years, I've been under an insane amount of emotional and psychological stress from this incident and how it was handled would be an understatement. It turns out that I was actually informed by someone from CBTC that prosecutors can essentially choose which cases they want to prosecute and which ones they don't. I was then told that prosecutors rarely ever decide to prosecute a case like this unless there's a lot of media attention surrounding the case or if the person involved has deep pockets. This simply reinforced what I already knew, which was that if I was a white woman with money, power, and influence, this situation would have gone much differently. Similarly, the person who raped me is a white man with a decent amount of money and influence, so to place my hopes in a justice system that does nothing to protect black women, especially in the face of people like him, would be foolish at best. I've been in therapy trying to grapple with how I was ignored by the justice system despite doing everything that I was told to do when something like this happens, and I would love nothing more than for this situation to be rectified on my behalf. But as I stated before, it would be foolish of me to think that the system would do absolutely anything to help me, especially after ignoring me for 2 years. Despite all of the evidence presented to them, and frankly, despite everything that we've seen regarding how police and the system treats black women. If Breonna Taylor can get killed in her sleep and she's not even going to get justice for that, what makes me think that I'm going to get justice for what happened to me? To Mimi Mares, a white woman who was in charge of handling a situation that was at the bare minimum traumatic for me, shame on you. Shame on you for lying to me. Shame on you for not prosecuting my case. Shame on you for not caring. And frankly, shame on you because I know I am not the only person who you've done this to. A friend of mine was sadly raped around the same time I got mayors assigned to my case, and she also got mayors assigned to her case as well. And despite getting a controlled phone call from her rapist, where he admitted to committing the crime, mayors still decided not to prosecute her case as well. We deserve better. At the end of the day, I hope this resonates with any other rape victim who was ignored by the very system that was supposed to help us. To anyone that's been a victim by the system, especially victims of color, you are not crazy. Do not let these people gaslight you. I'm done carrying the burden of what happened to me and suffering needlessly because it's not my burden to bear. If these people can sleep at night knowing how they've ignored us and how they've treated us, then they're the ones who are broken beyond repair. I'm ready to move forward with my life and I'm done staying silent. So I'm just putting this out there because there's absolutely no reason why I should feel the need to stay silent about the way that these assholes treated me, for lack of a better word. Thank you for watching. I'm done talking about this on my channel, but I'm glad that I got to share my truth. If not for myself, so that I can just release this and let this go. Because I'm done hurting for nothing. Fuck these people.